decode some wine lingo. Terroir. So terroir is a word which the French use, which generally means a sense of place. What does that really mean? That means they take a holistic view of where the grapes are grown, whether soil, the region, the climate during that year, winemaker, and the techniques that he used. All in combination adds to the quality and the uniqueness of the wine, which is called terroir. Okay, let's look at the next one. Mistral. Oh, this is cool. So Mistral is a powerful wind that flows in the southern Rhone Valley, which is very famous for a region called Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And why is Mistral so important? Because Mistral takes away the disease pressure on the plant, because when the winds are flowing into the valley, the grapes dry out. It removes the moisture from the grapes, and as a result of which the grapes don't succumb to diseases, which generally is very common in the wine world. So Mistral is single-handedly responsible for healthy grapes in the southern Rhone Valley, which is the most important element. In fact, it's so strong that when you sometimes stand in the vineyards of the southern Rhone Valley, you can actually swing because of the wind. And sometimes you also see wines which are bent because it is so powerful, but it is so amazing for the wines. Okay. Lees. Oh, this is a technical term. So, winemaking process involves sugar and yeast, which converts the sugar into alcohol. It's a very common thing. The sugar comes from the grapes and the yeast comes from, it's an outside chemical. Once the fermentation process is finished, you have something called as dead yeast. And this is generally removed with the process of filtering. But a lot of times these yeasts are not removed. They stay with the wine. And these lees, they add this beautiful texture and complexity to the wine. The most common example is actually champagne, where the champagne is lying on yeasts, or lees rather, for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, depending on the champagne, which adds this beautiful texture and brioche-like characteristics to the wine. So lees are extremely important. Lot of winemakers today are actually aging their wines on lees. Like we have a wine called Skaya, which is aged on lees for 8 months, which adds to this beautiful complexity. Okay, next one. Biodynamics. Oh wow, my favorite subject. Okay, so what is biodynamics? Biodynamics is a form of farming. Okay, it's an extreme form of farming. It was actually formed by an Austrian in 1926. And what it really does, that it takes the earth, the moon, and the land in combination when you are actually farming. And it's an extreme form of viticulture, but one of the most gratifying because it is all about quality. Just to give you an idea, that earth is influenced by the moon. The high tides and the low tides are because of the moon. And even in farming, this is very important. So when there is a high tide, the water is rushing into the plants, and generally one does not do anything with the plants during that time. So these are the simple fundamentals. Also, it believes in biodiversity. There is a treatment in biodynamics called 501 treatment, where they take the horn of the bull, they fill it with manure, they put it underground for 6 months, then they pull it out after 6 months, and then they spray this manure across the plant or across the vineyards. It improves the life of the plants. Very, very important. And some of the most exciting wines in the world today are made with biodynamics principle. Quercia is something that we have, which is biodynamics. Leumer, Heinrich, these are some of those beautiful wines that follow biodynamic principles. Okay. TCA, bad boy. TCA is a chemical which is called trichloroanisole, which is found in corks. And when faulty corks rather, when corks are made, this ingredient somehow comes in during the process. And if it touches the wine, of course there is cork in it, it spoils the wine completely, gives you this really musty kind of, characters. This actual ingredient led to the renaissance of a screw cap industry. Because during the 1960s and the 70s, or even during the 80s, Portugal, which is the largest producer of corks in the world, sent bad quality corks to New Zealand and Australia. And their production of wine started to stink because of this ingredient called TCA. And for the longest time, the producers didn't know why this was happening. They felt it was wrong in the wine. But eventually, they figured out that it is not the wine, but it's the corks. So Australia banned cork, and 95% of the production of Australia today is with screw caps because of this ingredient. So that's a little bit of history for you guys. Bottle Shock. Oh, great. So Bottle Shock is also a very, very cool movie. But what the real term means is that when you bottle the wine, which is the manufacturing process, the wine should not be drunk immediately because it goes through all these processes through a machine, and there's a lot of turbulence, and that is called bottle shock. Ideally, winemakers say that, we have just bottled the wine of a new vintage. Why don't you keep it down for like a month or two, let it settle, and then once the bottle shock is over, then you can drink the wine. This bottle shock also happens when the wines are exported from the winery to a country like India, where the wine is getting transported in the ocean, and there is a lot of turbulence, of course, in the ocean. So a lot of times when wine comes to us, we try to keep the wine for at least 20-25 days before we sell to our clients, so that the bottle shock goes away. And it's very, very relevant because wine does not taste the same when it is going through a bottle shock. If you like this kind of content that we are putting out, then let us know and we will also do part 2. Cheers.